Hi, I'm Peggy Kelly, and this is Good Morning Santa Paula. And our guest today on October 29th, Thursday, is Santa Paula City Manager Dan Singer. And Dan's going to update. We've got a lot of things to talk about today, and we appreciate him coming in, just like we appreciate you watching. So thank you so much. So how are you, Dan?
Good. Good morning, Peggy. I'm doing well. It's nice to have this warm weather at a time when fall is clearly also in the air.
Yes, absolutely. And it's cooler, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Too hot, too hot. But anyway, speaking of hot now, we've got Halloween coming up on Saturday night, but I know the city's got big things happening Friday night.
We do. We've our Parks and Rec department has really gone above and beyond. They've engaged our community through our civic groups and our nonprofits to all participate in a very festive Halloween event. But unlike past years when people would be gathered indoors, this is going to be a drive-through experience.
Oh, how fun.
So families are encouraged to grab their kids, get in the car, come out to Harding Park. That starts at 5 o'clock and goes till about 8. And there are, I think, 15 different organizations that are all doing their own little,
And they're going all out. I
Yeah.
saw the theater center. I saw a picture of the theater center even painting like a set. So
That's
it's
awesome.
be,
Yeah, I understand that one
awesome.
is like a Pirates of the Caribbean theme, and they're building a boat. So it's I
Really?
think it's going to be pretty cool. And then at the end of the experience, our department folks will be handing out little bags of goodies and stuff, so that kids also get to experience a little of the treats.
Oh, that's wonderful. And also as an aside, I'd also in the mighty Santa Paula Times, of course, but we'd had a list of houses that are just so wonderfully decorated. So that'll
really
be
impressive.
Fun. Yeah, that'll be fun. Now, and people should just really drive by and look at these houses too after they do the park experience Friday night. Now, trick or treating guidelines for Saturday. Of course, with COVID, that's all changed now.
That's correct. The county is allowing, they're not restricting trick-or-treating, but they have set out some guidelines. They're really discouraging it, especially discouraging gatherings.
Yes.
So if kids and families want to be out, having masks on, using good sanitary practices, disinfectants and everything are recommended. And really to just limit how much time you're out, but most of all, how much time you're spending with others. What we don't want is a spike up in cases a week or two after Halloween festivities.
Yes.
Because the county's been doing so well, unlike places all around the globe, but especially around the country. Ventura County is actually continuing to see a decline in daily cases. And so we really want to keep it that way. We're not that far from possibly going to even a lower tier with the state, and then being able to support our businesses in opening the doors up even further to customers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that the last hospitalization rate is under 30, and I think there was only 8 maybe people in ICU. It might even be lower. I forget offhand what the stats were, but it's really slowing down. And I think we're 2 weeks away now from maybe moving up to the orange tier.
That's right.
So that
also our mortality rates have gone down. So there's positive signs there. But it's also a good reminder to people we've gotten there because we've been patient and diligent, and this is not a time to suddenly throw the mask off and start celebrating with a bunch of people. So I think on that note, there's some misunderstanding about outdoor mask wearing. People should absolutely feel comfortable keeping a mask on when they're outdoors, but that's not what the guidelines require. And other people, I've heard stories of, people yelling at others that are walking down the sidewalk or are enjoying an outdoor meal or a drink that, hey, why don't you have a mask on? Well, you don't need a mask on when you're outdoors unless the venue you're in is requiring it, or if you're in line somewhere. You have to be able to socially distance.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as long as you can socially distance, It's just important to know you don't have to have a mask on. We recommend you have one with you. You can put them on and off at the appropriate time because sometimes you can't socially distance. But if you're eating, drinking, that mask can come off.
Yeah, and I think Santa Paulans in general had been very, very good about adhering to the rules, and and social distancing. It's only become also become second nature almost. I mean, and
well, look how far you and I are apart.
I absolutely, yeah, so far, but yet so close, but yet so far.
That's right.
It is. It's very important, and people have to get back into the swing of things to a certain extent. And I know I like to go out and have a meal, and of course our wait staffs are always wearing their masks and adhering to all the guidelines. But you're absolutely right. People at outdoor dinings or outdoor venues don't have to wear a mask as long as they're social distance. So yeah, so it's hard sometimes when the rules come in and then all of a sudden it gets carried to one extreme to the other. So
yeah,
so I'm glad you brought that up. Now we've got the police chief search. I know that you're hoping to maybe announce a new police chief this month.
We've had a very rigorous process. It's taken some time. I'm pleased with both where we're at. We have 3 really qualified finalists, but I'm also pleased with the process that we've used. It's not, while ultimately it's the city manager's selection, we've involved members of the department, members of the community, members of our executive team. We've brought in other professionals from the public safety field. There's been an opportunity for these finalists to spend a little time with the city council and of course with me. And so we're kind of putting them through the ringer.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's so important that this is the right fit.
And I think it's great that you had a citizens panel too.
Yeah, they did a fabulous job. A nice cross representation of the community. And it was just really helpful to hear their input. So we're, it's also very essential that we do proper background checks and reference checks and everything. So we're still a few weeks away from an actual decision, but I hope that'll happen in November and that we'll have somebody here, if not by the holidays, then certainly by January. So
absolutely. And it's been a year since we had a full-time chief. I mean, excuse me, not a full-time, but a permanent.
Right. But a permanent chief.
Yes.
Interim Chief Cordero is doing a fabulous job. It's been so nice to have his leadership. He's been, it's been an easy transition to have him come on board and to have his, commitment and interest in serving this community.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and of course he'd been with the department forever. So, yes. And had been the assistant chief, and before you lured him out of retirement.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And act as the interim, which is great. Now, we had a little, speaking of the police, we've had a few incidents that are very unfortunate.
Oh, horrible. Yeah. Just
first murder of the year. And we're almost out of the year, but we had our first murder of the year, and that was terrible. And
both of the shooting incidents that we've had in the last couple of weeks have been just horrible and completely uncalled for. It's not like this was because some drug deal went bad or something, and not that there'd be an excuse for that, but at least you understand it better. It almost feels like, the heaviness of COVID and the pent up situation people find themselves in, maybe a little desperate because of lost wages or jobs, or any of those services they're accustomed to receiving that they can't. It feels like that's weighing on us as a nation.
Well, domestic violence isn't really increased, which saddens me to say, but that's really
so has drug addiction, so has depression, so has suicide. Gee, is this a surprise when we essentially isolate people and shut down our services? So I can't sit here and say that these shootings are the result of COVID, but it's certainly juxtaposed with the situation we're in, it's unfortunate, but maybe not so surprising. I am pleased to say that our department has worked so hard. Our detectives have done a fabulous job and have worked in cooperation with other agencies. And we have suspects from both of those incidents that I think will full justice will be realized. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you have a shooting like this and it can take months, years, or never to actually bring, apprehend someone and bring them to justice.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad to hear that because these things are always so unsettling to any community, and especially since we've had, as I said, we've had our first homicide of the year, and it unsettles the entire community, and then of course the other terrible shootings. So I'm glad that those are taken care of. So
well, we're fortunate, but this doesn't come without a cost, and I don't mean just the psychological and emotional cost to the community, but the fact is, you can't have an effective detective unit and trained police and cooperation from the district attorney and the county sheriff and everything without putting money behind the department. And so
and overtime in these particular cases, the overtime alone is there's a lot of overtime. I mean, they go around the clock for 24, 48 hours.
Pure adrenaline, because when you have an incident like we did Saturday night, they tend to not stop until they get someone in custody.
Yes.
So it's it is a costly thing. So.
Yeah, well, I'm very, very sad to hear that, but feel reassured that, the suspects, and I know one has already been arrested, and I imagine another breaking news will be coming our way.
I expect so.
It's coming our way too is the election, which is Tuesday.
That's
and
right.
I want you to know I tracked my vote, and sure enough, it's there, and so they're going to count it, and I'm quite happy. So have you been getting a lot of work out, going and watching people walk up and down in front of that ballot box outside City Hall?
We're thrilled to see how much activity there is with people coming and putting their ballots there. That's also where our utility billing is. And so, I'm always hoping they're dropping off their water bill, but most of them are actually showing up to vote. In fact, earlier this week, there was a polling place that opens this Saturday, available to the public for those people that have questions, problems. Maybe they didn't receive their ballot. Maybe it came damaged. Maybe they've moved recently. Any of those number of issues, they can go to Isbell Middle School on Harvard, and the polling place is there. It'll be staffed during the daytime hours. Go get your questions answered. If not, feel free to stick your ballot in the mail. And like you said, you can track it, or come and drop it off here in front of City Hall. That box is open 24/7.
And also at the County Government Center, people are in Ventura, drive through the County Government Center, and they've got a drive-through ballot box.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's certainly, and an interesting turn of events too, is that the registration in Ventura County just totally jumped. It's over 500,000 now. 501,000. Yep. 90% of all eligible voters in Ventura County are now registered to vote.
Really? I had not seen that. That's fabulous.
Isn't that fabulous? And
so
it's
important to be counted.
I'm going to check my March numbers, because it seems to me that in March there was maybe 460,000 people registered at that point. And I could be really low, but it was way under 500,000.
Yeah.
So this is really an interesting turn of events. And have you been having any people call up and ask for assistance as far as their ballot being picked up? I know you were offering that.
We have. I think we're the only city in the whole county that's offered that service. There hasn't been heavy use, but so far I think 6 or 7 individuals and a few more that are signed up this week. But that's 6 or 7 people that might not have gotten out of the house otherwise, if they don't have transportation, or they're immobile, or just really want the comfort of having us take care of that for them.
And to a lot of people, yourself included, no doubt, and myself, I know, it means a lot to me to vote.
That's right.
You know,
right.
and with a lot of seniors, I imagine not having any way to get to the ballot box or whatever, that would be horribly frustrating. And you know, I mean, so this is wonderful. And
it's the healthiest way to make your voice known, right? And it's not just about national elections or, you know, partisan politics. You're voting for council members and school board members and board of education and college districts. You're voting on propositions that are important to the state, possibly on bonds and other measures. So
absolutely,
this is a exciting time of the year, and hopefully everything goes smoothly this next Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. Now, when you say hopefully everything goes smoothly, what are you referring to?
Well, there's been a lot of expectation that there might be protests, riots, other things, civil unrest.
For the usual.
Yeah. We're not expecting any problems here in Santa Paula. In fact, we've entered into an agreement with the city of Beverly Hills that will allow some of our officers to be dispatched down there if they have any problems. Of course, we'll be fully reimbursed for that.
And they had been there before. That's why actually they were asked back,
right,
was because they were mutual aid. They were sent there before, and the Beverly Hills Police Department was very impressed with our units, our crew were, and requested them because they have had problems. So they just want to buff up everything.
That's right.
Yeah, strange times. Mm-hmm.
No doubt. But we're looking forward to the results and to welcoming at least one new council member and new school board members. And I'm sure we'll be talking and reporting more on that in the coming weeks.
Absolutely. And I know it's too bad, you and I discussed earlier, no city hall. Unfortunately, people used to like to go to city hall and watch the results come in.
Yeah.
Which of course they can do at home online or listen to the radio or watch local television. But
that's right.
It would be great. Actually, Bob and I should maybe do an election show. I hadn't thought of that. So I'll have to talk to him about that later.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Might have to do that. But, you know, so, and I think everybody's really so interested in this election. And I thank the city really for their efforts in making sure people are able to vote. I think that was wonderful. And I hope you do that again. And, you know, as far as like helping people vote and things like that, it's really important.
Well, I think mail-in ballots is something that's probably here to stay.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if COVID goes away. So
yeah,
it's just more efficient.
Yeah. Before this year, 60% of statewide ballots were mail-in ballots. And in
I think even higher here in our county.
73% in March for the primary used mail-in ballots.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
So we're already fabulously high on that. So, and speaking of which, I guess we did very well with the census too.
We did. Yep. Better than 10 years ago. It was a great example of across the board effort in our community with volunteers, civic organizations, churches, you name it. And we did quite well. Of course, it was all cut short by the federal government. Not really clear why and what purpose that served, but we were happy to give it our best, and we'll see how the results turn out.
Mm-hmm. Well, the federal government is good at not counting. Let's put it on that basis. So anyway, anything you'd like to add?
Just encourage people to enjoy their holidays. Remember, the time changes this weekend.
Yes, that's
Things
right.
will get a little darker a little sooner, but you know, just keep up the good work in terms of the COVID restrictions.
Okay, well, listen, Dan, are you going to be there Friday night at Harding Park?
I will. I'm not going to be in costume, but I will be observing.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, I'm going to try to drive through. So, you know, and be able to get the full experience. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, well, listen, thank you so much, Dan. Always a pleasure to have you and have you bring everybody up to date.
Of course. Happy Halloween.
And happy Halloween to you too. And happy Halloween to everybody out there also. Don't forget, this is Good Morning Santa Paula, and we had Dan Singer, the City of Santa Paula city manager with us today, and we appreciate always Dan and other members of the staff coming in. Be sure to watch us on cable channel 10, Spectrum Cable Channel 10, and also on kadytv.net. And you can watch it on YouTube then, and be sure to subscribe. Once again, I'm Peggy Kelly with the Mighty Santa Paula Times. This is Good Morning Santa Paula, and it was a good morning with Dan Singer. And thank you so much. And everybody have a wonderful weekend and a happy Halloween. And don't forget to turn those clocks back. Bye-bye.